Hi, I'm George Barna, the Executive Director of the American Culture and Faith Institute. Are you dissatisfied with American society today? If you are, you're not alone. Our research is showing that most people join you in that dissatisfaction. We know that 37% say that they do not believe that the nation is moving in the right direction. We know that 40% say that they're satisfied with the way things are going, but the majority are not satisfied. We know that half of all Americans believe that our culture is unhealthy, and another quarter of them say, well, it's somewhat healthy, somewhat unhealthy. You look at all of these things and you realize people are really concerned about the state of the culture, and that's good. We shouldn't just be accepting things like we're helpless victims. We've got to use the brain that God gave us to figure out, is it working or not? And so it's good that 74% of SageCons, the spiritually active, governance engaged conservative Christians, are saying that they want to be involved in doing something to make American society a better place. In fact, we know that 7 out of 10 SageCons say that they're either extremely or very interested in being involved in activities that will produce a more positive culture. Is that you? Are you one of those people? I certainly hope so. But the question then becomes, well, what are you going to do to make that happen? And so you've got to realize you can't just wait around for a personal invitation. It's not up to them, whoever them is. It's really up to you. It's up to me. It's up to us individually and personally to do something. And please don't stand there and say, well, I'm going to pray about it. Now, look, I'm not putting down prayer. Prayer is incredibly important, and it needs to be part of the process. But so often what I find, not only in my personal relationships with other people and when I go out on the road and speak and talk with people and whatnot, but even out of the research, what I discover is that that often becomes kind of a lazy, almost default approach to taking action. It's kind of an inactive way to take action. People don't really pray. If they pray once or twice, and then they give it up and they move on. There's not much follow-up, not much diligence. Again, if you're a prayer warrior, that's a great and special thing, and we need that. But most people really don't have that as their calling and gifting. You see, and that's really what all of this comes down to. If you're going to make a difference, if you're going to get in the game for Christ and do something significant, I'd encourage you to try to figure out, all right, so, what do you do well? What are the gifts that God's given to you? What's the training that He's allowed you to have? What kind of experiences has He put you through? None of that is to be wasted. None of that was random or by chance. It was all purposeful and intentional and strategic on God's part. And so your job is to figure out, why did He do that? And now how can I take that and use that so that I can do something that's significant? Try to figure out what it is that you're good at, because you then enjoy those things. You tend to be passionate about those things, and therefore you're going to persevere at taking on something that utilizes those skills and qualities and abilities that you have, that God's specially given to you. Remember that you cannot do everything to change American culture, but you can do something. And in fact, that's how the church works. It's each of us doing a little bit, doing our little part of that greater human puzzle to see that change happen. God orchestrating all the many pieces, us just being responsible for and responsive to that one piece that we've been called to. You've been called to America, where you are in America, for such a time as this. Use that time wisely.